variety of customers in different industries, or how did you gain customers? And
yeah, no, that's a good question. So I mean, everybody's after the Fortune 500 companies, right? Because they're the biggest ones. You know, the Apples and the HPs and the Gap stores. So for example, Gap was one of our very first clients. You know, they started making, products over in Asia, wanted to go into China for the cheaper labor source as well, and the quality was very good. And Gap said, look, come with us. We're leaving Hong Kong. We want to go into China. Help us manage our goods, our purchase orders, everything.
Right.
And help us source those products. We don't have offices over there, but we want you to open up offices so you can be our eyes and ears and help bring that product to the distribution centers or retail stores, what have you. So there's if anybody is doing something international, and obviously the company not only was to import, but we developed the whole export market. So clients in the US or any country that was producing and moving goods overseas, that was our client as well. We developed both sides, of course.
Right.
So no matter the strength of the currency or what have you, the trade markets, we wanted to be involved.
Right.
So anything that you see, there's a pretty good chance it was imported or might be exported.
Right.
And those are the clients we went after. As long as they had a need, right? As long as we felt they had a growth potential, as long as they weren't at risk financially, right?
Right.
And as long as they wanted to have a long-term relationship, somebody they really wanted to work with side by side and grow their business with. If they were in it because they felt we had better pricing, and that's the only reason they're in it, we would choose not to work with them. Because we didn't want somebody just for a short-term relationship, because there's a lot of startup costs to develop the relationship correctly. If somebody's just in it because we're $1 cheaper or a penny cheaper per pound on air freight, we would walk away. Or do our very best to explain to them why that's the wrong way to look at it. And long term, the savings, the cycle time reductions, all the things that can come to fruition would be there if they would commit to us. But we never had contracts. It was always about if our service could make their life better, their business better, then they would continue to work with us and we would develop together.
And with that, can you talk about a little bit how technology impacted your work over the years and the supply chain, and where you saw it was kind of heading, how you had to adjust?
Well, obviously it's, if you think about our business, right, what do we have to offer? Our people, the training that we gave them, the offices around the world that we slowly opened and developed, the compliance, the consistency, the same customer service level. So once again, if you call some office overseas and you call the office locally, it's the same consistent service level, meaning you really feel like you're being treated as the best client and the only client. I think when we started using just fax, and faxes back and forth as a communication on the phone, and using a telex machine, which you probably know what that is, where we're sending telexes back and forth, to the fact that we're allowing clients to EDI and give us all their orders electronically. There's going for that paperless system, which is a challenge to get to even 35 years later, right?
Right.
But the visibility of that, the data exchange, the ability to have clients run all their costs using all the information we have coming from point A to point B.
Right.
So without the technology, we wouldn't have had the ability to inform our clients. They wouldn't have been able to reduce their costs. Up until now.
Yeah. And what was would you say is the most memorable moment from your job? Whether that's a memorable client you had to work with, or what you kind of learned and took away from your time at Expeditors International.
I think, client-wise, we've worked with a lot of different clients, right? If you work with somebody for 10, 15, 20 years, you grow together, so you become friends. So that part, the relationship goes from business to personal. And as our through was fantastic to see how we evolved together down the road. I had a lot of clients that they came to us saying we want to come into the U.S. market, and we're a British firm, for example, and we don't know how to bring our product that we sell now to continental Europe, but we think our product might sell in the United States, and can you help us? So I remember meeting downtown Chicago 20 years ago, and these British guys came in, and they had just a chalkboard and a box and this secret thing in the box, and they said, we want to start bringing this thing into the U.S. and we have no experience, and we want a company to be in Chicago because we think we can bring it to Chicago and use Chicago as a hub, and we know we can feed 2/3 of the U.S., meaning Midwest and East Coast, and eventually we'll do West Coast. And we've got a product that's going to knock the socks off the existing market. We're kind of, we've heard this story a lot before, right? We're like, okay, great. Who are you? Do you have any financial backing? Because in our business, we have a tendency to, when we go and work with the steamship lines and the airlines and all of these, and the customs and taxes and duty, we advance money on behalf of the client. So we pay the bills, and then we bill the client 15 days later. So he's got to have the financial resources, or we're advancing us money, and you can't take that risk, right?
Right.
So when you start with these young companies, you really want to know, who's behind them. And they were talking about numbers of moving 100,000 units, 200,000 units, maybe getting this probably up to 2 million units, selling them in the U.S. And finally, we had to sign kind of a non-disclosure, and they wanted to bring in vacuum cleaners, right? Right. Or like a vacuum. I don't know a lot about vacuum cleaners, but had a little ball on it, and one was called the Animal, and it would suck the hair off the rug, much more so than any other vacuum. And that was, I don't know if you ever heard of Dyson vacuums, but Dyson is a gentleman called Jim Dyson over in Birmingham, England. The Queen made him a Sir James Dyson. He's a brilliant inventor who came up with this Dyson vacuum, which had a market point of $600, and then $500, $300, and he came in and just killed it in the U.S. market like it was in the UK. And to this day, we handle every one of their vacuums throughout the U.S. and Europe.
Can you talk about what might have been the biggest challenge? I know in class we talk a lot about like natural disasters affecting the global supply chain. Were you seeing a lot of that in your business, or what were some of the challenges you had to overcome?
I think just it's not so much the natural disasters, how you have a contingency plan, and how do you come and react quickly no matter what the cost or the timing. I mean, if you're up for 24 hours, how do you help that client get through that strike, that a volcano that disrupted certain flight patterns. You're right, it could be a tsunami in Japan that's created from a meltdown, or but how do you react? Are you there for the client? Are you there past 5? Are you there at midnight? Are your offices, can they put together a quote unquote SWAT team, a team to step up with your account management team and help this client get through this? I mean, even this summer, I'm sure you guys read about how Hanjin steamship line went bankrupt, right? So, 4 or 5 months prior to Hanjin going bankrupt, everybody had indications that there's some serious financial problems here. We knew what was going on with the markets. We knew the rates were crashing. We knew they were losing money on every container they moved. So clearly, we did the right thing and stepped away from them and didn't put any cargo on that. But ironically, 4 or 5 months later, I'm reading the Wall Street Journal front page news every day about how there's millions of dollars of product stuck, at the port openings. So we avoid that by being more conservative. The flip side is, how do you then go to those clients who have their products stuck and find the air capacity, for example, to fly that product in.
Right.
Because no matter what, the client has to get their phones, if it's Apple or whatever, to the release date that they've promised. You know, so.
How often were you having to, you know, keep in touch with clients, having meetings, keeping them up to date? Did it just differ on the industry or the size of the client?
That's a great question. You don't want to drive your client crazy, right? But you want to be as linked to them as possible. It could be through EDI. So every few minutes they'd be getting a transmission from us, notifying them of some event that's taking place on the supply chain of their shipment, for example.
Right.
We made it a point, if it was a key client, being a large client, to have a formal sit-down review every month with them to produce the reports and the information and the scorecard once again to show that this is how we quantify, this is how we measure everything we've done for you. Are we meeting your expectation? Is this what you asked us to do, and are we meeting it or exceeding it, we hope?
Right.
So we always felt that the best approach was not to wait for them to call us, but to go to them with the information they said, this is what we want from you as far as performance and key indicators, right?
Right.
We would take those measurements and give them to them and say, help us, you know, how can we improve?
And kind of a final question here, how important do you think supply chain is in the success of a business after especially working in the industry for so long, and how did you see it affect businesses in a, you know, positive way?
Yeah, I mean, it's a layup question, right? I mean, it's if this is what their livelihood is, it's their bloodline, right? It's everything to them. So if you have inconsistent service, if your rates fluctuate on you, if you can't manage the client's vendors the way they want to, you can literally shut down that company or bankrupt that company by having the people, when they show up in the stores, to go next door, right? Because they can't find what they want. So it's of essence. The key is, though, there are a lot of people that say they can do the job, but there's only very few, I think, in this industry, because it's pretty fragmented, that can kind of take the roof off, look inside, see what the client truly needs, and then perform that way. But the real question is performing on day-to-day, and then where are you taking the client down the road with changes in technology and the evolution of the industry? Are you, you know, visionary as well as